Hello, my name is Mr. Asprey and these are my predictions for 2024 Maths EDEXCEL A-Level. Now, disclaimer, I am not Mystic Meg. I do not know exactly what is going to be on paper 1. Nobody does. It's fair game for EDEXCEL to put any topic on paper 1 and we're just going to have to find out what those are when we sit our exam in the summer. But with that being said, I have gone through every single past paper and you can watch a walkthroughs for those, link right here. And I have just analysed to see which questions come up and how many marks they are worth. Now, the most important thing for you to do though is to revise properly. So that means doing every single past paper yourself. It means once you've done that, do all the MADAS past papers. Again, I'll put the link to some of the walkthroughs there. Make sure you do all the textbook questions. Make sure you make revision notes. Make sure you ask your teachers or tutors for help on subjects which you find the most challenging. Okay, here is all of the data, and what I've done is I've gone from 2018 to 2023, so that's since the spec changed. I've categorised the topics, and then I've put the number of marks that appeared for that topic in that year in this spreadsheet. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to talk through some of the things that I've noticed whilst making this spreadsheet, and then I'm going to highlight what I think are some of those key topics. And if this video gets enough likes and requests, then what I'll do is I'll make a predicted paper just using these key topics. Okay, so let's go through each of the topics, highlighting the critical ones. Now I would say circles is pretty important because even though it didn't come up in 2019, when it does come up, it's for big marks. So it's really one which you want to have, absolutely nailed down. Vectors as well is consistent. It literally comes up every single year. So that's another important one. Exponential modelling, I was really surprised. It's come up every single year for decent marks as well. In 2018, there was a really tricky question, and when I talk about questions, I'll put a little screenshot of them in the corner here so you can see what I'm talking about. So yes, really important exponential. I was so surprised, but it is a really big topic. Logs, equations, yeah, I mean last year for 11 marks, I'm not sure it's one of the fundamental important super duper ones, but of course still revise it, absolutely. Log modelling, strangely, comes up sort of every other year, so again it's not one which I'm going to put into my predicted paper. Proof, again, comes up every year for a very consistent number of marks, average 6.3. I would say that, yeah, that's one which you certainly want to make sure that you know how to do. Factor theorem and partial fractions, yeah, they're important because they do come up quite frequently, but they are relatively routine and for a smaller number of marks, so I'm not going to highlight those ones. But again, maybe I'm not going to caveat everything with you should revise it, because you should revise everything. So I'm just going to say that now and not say it again. Okay, functions, big topic, big marks, 7.7 average. It's come up every year so far. Modulus, again, yes, it has come up every year. Last year it was for big marks, but not as many marks as functions on average. So I'm not going to highlight that one. Scrolling down. Okay, binomial expansion. Again, this one comes up every single year. It's such a big topic that I find it really difficult to imagine them not examining it. Whether that be in paper 1 or paper 2, no idea. Who knows? It's impossible to say. But it's certainly a big topic. Geometric sequences as well. I was surprised by this in that it comes up more frequently than the other types of sequences, the recursive, arithmetic and sigma notation. So that one I would say is important as well. Right, trig identities and equations. This is, I think, the most common question that has ever been because it's for 12.3 marks on average. Though recently they've not done as many marks as right at the start, where there were literally 2 questions across the year, both worth about 8 or 9 marks. But still, it's a common question. It's one you want to be able to do quite quickly, so it's definitely going in my my super revision predicted paper. Okay, trig modelling as well is important, but I'd say not as important as trig identities and equations. Okay, so what are we looking at here? Parametric calculus. Now I'm going to put this in my paper because when it comes up for big marks. And I don't think they put it in the first two papers because, strangely, parametric integration was not in the original textbook. So maybe they just didn't put it in the first two papers in case they didn't want to catch anyone out. But now it's firmly 100% definitely in the spec. I suspect that it's a big mark question basically. Okay, moving on to the other big dogs. Differentiation year 2. You've got your chain rule, product rule, quotient rules. Yeah, super important to know how to differentiate. An average of 10 marks across the two papers. So that is, that's well, that's 5% of your total grade. Okay, now this one I was really surprised with. Differentiation year 1, and I'm going to put this in as well because, again, it's for big marks. Now there are two different types of questions you might get. One where you just have to differentiate, find stationary points, etc. Or one where you have to do differentiation modelling, which is a very specific question. Implicit differentiation, again, I feel like even though it didn't come up 1 year, I think, it's a big mark question. And it's an important skill to know how to do. Okay, moving on to numerical methods. Iteration. I was really surprised by this, but because I thought that there would be more of iteration and Newton-Raphson sort of yo-yoing from year to year. But iterations come up every single time. So it's one they obviously like a lot, so I'm going to put that in my revision paper. Now, here it is. 14 average. Big dog, and that is year 2 integration. And look, no surprises, right? It's a huge topic. It's one that encompasses substitution parts, partial fractions, reverse chain rule. If you don't know how to integrate, you're going to struggle with an EDEXCEL paper. So that one is critical. And this surprised me, differential equations, because when it does come up, and it has come up every single year, it is big marks. So that one is definitely going in. Okay, so with that being said, again, if this video gets lots of likes, then I will do this revision paper and I'll focus on these topics. So I'll do a question on all of these orange topics, as these are the ones which come up for big marks and come up consistently. But caveat, who knows? All of these might not be in paper 1. Literally, that could happen as well. Okay, if you want to see that predicted paper, then smash the like button and let me know in the comments what else you want to see, what other content you would like me to make. Good luck in your exams. Revise everything. Bye for now.